Hey, what's up guys, Hans here. Yes, you read that right. I have bought another rental property. In fact, I now own 6 rental properties over here in Germany, and I've bought 5 of them in 2023 as I've been working as a strategy consultant in Berlin. In this video, I will tell you about the specifics of this new apartment, meaning the full financials, how much it cost me, how much I'm renting it out for, how I did the financial analysis, and I also explain the full buying procedure so that you can evaluate apartments in Germany yourself and possibly even buy one. But now let's get into the video. Let me just quickly elaborate on the structure of this video. First, I will tell you about how I found this specific apartment and how I usually find properties like this. Next, I will tell you about how I usually conduct a financial analysis. And for this, we will jump into an Excel sheet, which I created and which you can then also later on download if you'd like to. And this Excel sheet actually helps you to evaluate whether you're actually making money with this apartment. I then want to quickly elaborate on the renovation which I did to make the apartment look more appealing to the new renters. And then lastly, I want to draw a conclusion about the investment and compare it to my other apartments which I'm already renting out. If you're interested in this topic, let me just quickly remind you that I do have another video about how I am renting out and how I bought my first apartment in Freiburg, Germany. If you're interested in this video and in this topic, check out this video over here. And now let's have a closer look at the property relevant for this video. The apartment is located in the beautiful Black Forest in the south of Germany and in Villingen-Schwenningen specifically. Villingen-Schwenningen is a smaller sized city with around 80,000 inhabitants in the region. There are several university campuses which make the location attractive for investments. Also, the real estate prices are not as high compared to, let's say, Freiburg, which is actually not too far from Villingen-Schwenningen, and that makes the location even more attractive for investors. I found the apartment through an app or website called Immobilien Scout, which is a rather common platform over here in Germany to buy and find rentals or even apartments to purchase. Also, it needs to be said that I do already own the apartment which is above the apartment we're talking about in this video. Hence, I already do know the house, I do know the location, the specifics of the apartment, which makes it obviously very interesting and helpful for me. And with that, I was obviously able to calculate. Whenever I saw the ad on Immobilien Scout, I then contacted the realtor, the owner, and made sure to receive all of the necessary information and documents. So now let's check out the apartment itself. I bought a 59 square meter or 635 square foot 2-bedroom flat for which I paid 94,000 euros, not including additional costs, which I will elaborate on later on. The flat itself has a kitchen area and a bathroom and then the 2 bedrooms. Overall, there are 3 flats in the house. As I said before, I do own the top one, and then there's also one on the ground level, which I do not own just yet, maybe in the future, who knows. The apartment and the whole building itself was built in the 1930s, so it's a really old house overall. But the apartment and I think parts of the house as well have been renovated in the late 70s. Other than that, to be honest, it's really not been renovated and obviously does still look a bit shady. And that's also why I chose to renovate this apartment, but more on this later. Examining the micro location, the apartment is located in the city center of Villingen-Schwenningen. There are a bunch of stores nearby and the location is appealing to many university students, as I said before, as the campuses are close by. However, the proximity to the city center, for example, university campuses, is truly why I am investing here. Also, with the apartment comes a nice little hut, as you can see in this picture, which is separate from the main house and which is attributed to my flat only. Therefore, I can rent out this little hut separately from the apartment, for example as storage space, thus revealing another revenue source, but also more on this later. But now let's get into the financials. As I just mentioned, I bought the apartment for 94,000 euros, which is comparatively cheap. Similar sized apartments usually go for 120 or 150,000 euros, depending on their condition and exact location. Therefore, what can be noted up front is that I have been able to negotiate the price down to a level which I would value as being underpriced. Now, in Germany, there are range of other costs associated to the purchase of an apartment. And for this, let's jump into the Excel sheet. By the way, I will shortly upload a video in which I will take you through this Excel sheet in a detailed way. Therefore, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Also, if you do want a copy of this sheet, make sure to comment down below. I will then post the link to my Google Drive so you can download it. But now let's have a look at the sheet. So I inserted the relevant information here on the left, such as the purchase price, additional costs such as the real estate agent, notary, and so on. The additional costs sum up to roughly 10,000 euros. Unfortunately, the additional costs in Germany are rather high compared to other countries. But let's not dive deeper into this. As you can see in the pictures, the apartment itself was not really in a good condition. Since I want to attract solvent students who are willing to pay a higher rent for a nice apartment, it was important for me to partly at least renovate the apartment. And that's why I fully remodeled the bathroom, the hallway, and the kitchen area. And I guess that's pretty much the whole apartment. I did a lot of work myself, but I also hired a craftsman who did most of the work. Overall, the renovation cost me around 14,000 euros, and that's why I put 6,000 in here and 8,000 euros in here. Overall, if you add up all of the costs, you end up at 118,000 euros for this apartment and for the total investment which I made. But now let's go one level deeper. To calculate whether the investment makes sense for me and for comparison purposes, I used this form to calculate the cash flow, return on investment, monthly debt service, and so on. I previously told you about the little hut outside, and this is what it looks like. I just rented it out for 200 euros a month as storage space. And I'm now also renting out the apartment to 2 students who pay roughly 400 euros each per bedroom. Therefore, the overall, we call it cold rent over here in Germany, accumulates to roughly 1,000 euros per month. But for now, let's not dive deeper into the taxes, reserves, and forecast, but rather into the allocable costs and non-allocable costs. But what are these costs exactly? As written in German law, there are some costs which are allocable to the renters directly. All recurring costs that the landlords have to pay for the management of the property are allocable service charges. These include costs for heating, waste, hot water, garden maintenance, janitor, and more. And for this apartment, these costs add up to 60 euros per month. On the other hand, there are non-allocable costs, such as repair and maintenance costs, which cannot be directly charged to the renters. And these add up to roughly 20 euros per month. Now, I financed roughly 90,000 euros from my local bank at an interest rate of 4.9%. And that is pretty high at the moment. But I only secured the interest rate for 3 years. Over here in Germany, it's pretty common that you choose 10 years, and that means that after 3 years I do have to refinance the loan. And as you might imagine, I speculate that the interest rates will be lower in 3 years. I then also repay roughly 1.5% of the loan each year, which is also pretty common in Germany. So including all of the costs mentioned before, I then put in an additional 28,000 of my own equity. Now, in Germany, we divide rent into, we call it cold rent and warm rent. It's stupid, I know, but it will make sense in a second. If we now switch to the cash flow calculation on the right side, you can see that the warm rent, which is the cold rent plus the allocable costs, is 1,060 euros. If you then deduct the management costs, the interest, my repayment of the loan, I do have a cash flow of 435 euros per month. That means that on top of paying off my loan, what I have called repayment or acquittance here, I make a surplus of 435 euros per month. Isn't that crazy? Obviously, that is before tax, but still, this is an amazing revenue stream for one apartment. Now, the taxes I have to pay on this revenue stream are extremely small because I have such a high depreciation of this apartment. But that is subject to another video and would make this discussion even more complex. However, if you're interested in getting to know how I did that, let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you do have any questions about this calculation, also let me know in the comments. Now, let me just quickly show you how I renovated the apartment. As mentioned before, the apartment itself was in a bad shape. Everything was old and looked sort of run down. That's why I mainly renovated the bathroom, the hallway, and the kitchen. I did some of the work myself, but I also hired a craftsman who did most of the work. Overall, I paid roughly 14,000 euros for the whole renovation, including the furniture of the apartment. I got rid of the wall between the old toilet and the bathroom, got rid of the bathtub itself, installed a shower, redid the tiles, and more. In the hallway, I got rid of the old chimney and wall covering and put on some new plastering. I did the same with the kitchen and parts of the bedrooms, but in here I mainly painted the old walls and wall covering, which already made a big effect in my opinion. Throughout the whole apartment, I added wooden panels to stabilize the flooring, and then I added a sort of plastic floor called vinyl. Overall, I'm really happy with the outcome, and I think the apartment looks great now. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. In summary, I'm really glad I found this apartment and that I was able to buy it and thus add to my portfolio of my existing other 5 apartments which I do already own. Compared to other units, this apartment really generates a nice cash flow or surplus on top of the repayment which I already do on a monthly basis. I'm now planning on keeping the apartment for, let's say, at least 10 years, as I can then sell it and don't have to pay any taxes on the earnings. By the way, my bank values all of the apartments I own, and they figured that the apartment is now worth roughly 170,000 euros. Comparing this to the overall investment of 118,000 euros shows that I was able to add significant value to the property, and probably also that I was able to buy it at a cheap price. And with that, we're done for this week's video. If you're interested in this topic and how my other investments work, for example, my side hustle in which I rent out shipping containers, subscribe to this channel. Also, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button below. Are you thinking about buying real estate yourself? Then also please leave a comment down below and let me know in which markets you're trying to invest. I hope you really enjoyed this week's video. See you guys soon. Take care. Bye.